frown. So one man's meat is another man's poison. So anyway, but I don't know what Marcella is doing and what happened to her for Valentine. God bless you all. So happy Valentine to everybody, and I pray that God will give us true love and true spirit of love and engagement. Amen. At this time. That's the greatest command ever. Love one another as I have loved you. The greatest gift is love. You can't say you didn't get the opportunity. Not being a patient husband. So you are giving a red card.
Amen.
God will help you. Okay. But I mean, love is very important. It says love is bigger than all the laws. If you have love, you have everything. So let's try and see how we can really, truly love one another. Filial love, as the Bible enjoins us. So we're having today a very, very interesting young man. I just recently met him. He's published 2 books, which I'm sure he'll talk about during the course of the program. Was introduced to me by one of my sons, who's based in New York. One of the children that I brought up, saw through school to some extent, supported their mother and their father, and they have become both my spiritual and to a large extent my biological children. He visited Nigeria sometime last year to show me what he'd been doing in terms of business. When this gentleman said he was coming to Lagos, he said he needed to meet with me.
Pastor, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
How did that happen? I've been talking to myself. Can you imagine? Amazing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know where you left off or where you heard me last. But anyway, I was telling you that I met this young man recently, introduced to me by one of my spiritual and virtually physical sons, who is based in New York. He's into business and fashion. And he was visiting last year, just to let me know how far he'd gone. And then when he heard that this young man was visiting Nigeria, he said he needed to see me. So he came, he saw me, we had a discussion. And then I said he needed to meet the rest of the African Leadership Group. And here we are today. He's a graduate of New York Law School, where he obtained a master's in taxation law. He's also currently pursuing a master's degree program at the Baruch College, where he'll graduate in the spring of 2024 with a concentration in public management. He currently works with the New York City Department of Correction as legal coordinator, having led law at Madonna University in Nigeria. He was appointed ambassador for International Youth Conference in 2024, and he's a self-discovery and transformational mindset coach. He's the founder and president of Global Empowerment and Mentoring Initiative, Incorporated, a human capacity-driven company that is focused on helping the youth and progressive minds unleash their potential through self-discovery. As an emerging global leader, he believes that the youth are the vessel of change in any progressive society. He also has international exposure and affiliations in Rwanda and different kinds of places. As I said, he's published 2 books, Actualizing Your Birthright and Unleash Your Destiny, 50 Nuggets for a Purposeful and Impactful Life, that I am beginning to read at this point in time. Please welcome with me, Mr. Henry Ukazu. Mr. Henry Ukazu. You are most welcome to the African Leadership Group, the Nigerian Leadership Series discourse for the year of, for the 15th day of February of the year of our Lord 2024. You can unmute yourself and send a greeting to the people. Thank you, Henry. You're still muted, I think.
Good evening, Pastor, and my audience. I'm highly humbled and honored to be here this evening. It's a privilege and honor with me to give back to my country, Nigeria. And I look forward to sharing a blissful, I look forward to having a blissful conversation with each and every one of you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry. We're speaking today on the role of the youth in national development. The role of the youth in national development. So we have about 3 or 4 keywords there. The role, youth, national, and development. So every nation needs some kind of development, and every nation has principal pieces and different kinds of demography that need to play one role or the other, or have one action or the other in ensuring that the nation develops. So I just want you to give me your own viewpoint and snapshot of where you think the level of national development is in Nigeria at this point in time. And I'm sure that your relationships and your exposure in New York and places like that would help. So where do you think we are in terms of developing as a nation?
Well, for a lack of better words, I would say Nigeria right now is an emerging economy. We are yet to come at par with contemporary countries in the world, looking at countries like USA, Canada, United Kingdom, Germany, Scotland. These companies have truly developed themselves. And the reason why they've developed themselves is because they've tapped into the potentials and the capacity of the youths. As you may rightly know, the youths are the future of any country that wants to literally develop. I can remember in 2012 when Obama was a president. We have in New York, in the American system, where they have the high school colleges and they have the community colleges, but they kind of focus more on the high schools and the community college before the regular colleges, which we call university in Nigeria. In this campus, they set a lot of they put a lot of resources, okay, to really develop those campuses, and that is where they unleash the potentials of these youth. But quite unfortunately, in Nigeria, the human capacity development is at this small low level, because I don't see a system whereby the government supports the youths to literally develop themselves, and that has led us to this toga people say school is a scam, which is something I would love to expatiate on down the line. So I strongly believe that there's a lot that needs to be done just to enhance the capacity of the youth. And I think they have a big role to play. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Henry. You clearly are saying that you're not very satisfied with the level of development of our nation. Where do you think we really are? And what do you think are the problems with our development, and why have we not developed as we should have as a nation?
Within the first place, I think I would say we are still in the process of trying to identify who we are, because self-discovery is the ultimate thing. You can only solve a problem when you understand the cause of the problem. So right now, I think we are yet to understand the critical needs of Nigeria. When we understand that, then we'll be able to address it. I see a case whereby we move one step forward and 3 steps backwards. So self-discovery is literally lacking, because we don't seem to know ourselves, both as a nation, the leaders, and the youths themselves. So self-discovery is a critical word I want us to take note of, because that will form the baseline of how we can literally unleash the potentials of both Nigerian youths and develop the country at large. So the problems right now in Nigeria, again, I would say stems from the area of self-discovery, because Many of our leaders and even the contemporary youths don't know themselves. And if you don't know yourself, it will be hard to solve a problem. You cannot go on a journey if you don't understand the routes or the directions. It makes no sense. So for Nigeria to literally reach its optimum capacity, we have to really ask ourselves some critical questions. What do we want as a nation, and how can we make it work? There was a research that was done by Forbes. According to Forbes, only 50% of the world are self-aware. And if you look at civilized countries of the world, they've truly understood who they are and what they want. And that was what made JFK, one of the American presidents, John F. Kennedy, he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That literally tells you that they've understood what it is to be a servant leader. They've understood what it is to bring change in society. They've understood their challenges, and they know the problems of how they can literally solve it. If we juxtapose it with Nigerian case, I think the reverse is the case, because what an average Nigerian is thinking about is, what can I gain from Nigeria, as opposed to what can I give to the country? And that is why you see the level of corruption in Nigeria is abysmally high, because the fundamental issues have not been addressed. And if I'm to suggest to the government of the day, they should introduce a credit card system. Why do I say that? I say that because when people are living above minimum wage, they will not be tempted to steal from the treasury or to even extort from the masses. So we can say that the lacuna or the gap and the diastema is high in the system. So that is one of the major challenges. We have a leadership vacuum in the system. Secondly, again, the mindsets of both the leaders and the youths needs to be worked upon. We don't have a growth mindset. Rather, we have a fixed mindset where people are not allowed to think out of the box. They just go with whatever they think is obtainable in the system. So
you need to unmute yourself. You've gone mute. Thank you.
Okay. So the issue of selfless service is also lacking in the system. And again, the issue of attitudinal change is also lacking in the system. So these are the three critical areas I think are the major challenges Nigerians are facing. Thank you.
Thank you. But you've provoked another question from me. How does a nation, how do a people become self-aware? What's the process that you need to go through to become self-aware?
The first step of a nation becoming self-aware is for them to know what they truly want, know who they are. I say this because everyone is different. When everyone is different, every country, every nation, every state is literally different. What is obtainable in one country is not obtainable in another country. So we have to understand the value system of Nigeria. What is obtainable in America, where I reside, is not what's obtainable in Nigeria. America practices a presidential system of government, and they are a capitalist system of government, and we tend to practice that same system. But remember, we cannot practice capitalism without capital. So the system of capitalism is not fully enshrined in the system, because in America, for instance, they do empower their youths. If you have ideas, they will empower you. But in Nigeria, where a youth is trying to get some finance from a bank, he or she is being told to bring XYZ collateral, and he or she will not be able to afford it. The reason why Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and other great entrepreneurs are thriving in America and in other countries of the world is because the government supports them. The government creates enabling opportunities for them to thrive. Of course, you know, the government does not create jobs. It is the private sector that creates a job. But the government provides the enabling opportunities. So self-aware, for a country to be self-aware, we have to ask ourselves, what do we want as a nation? What do we want as a state? Are we comfortable in having a regional system of government or capital system of government? Are we doing it because it is right for us, or because we see that our colonizers have done it and it works for them? Like I said earlier on, what is obtainable in one system is not what's obtainable in another system. According to what the folks have said back in the days, before we have the colonial government came into power, we have our region of government, the West, the East, and the North, and they were all being ruled amicably. But when the white man came, it's different system of government, and that has led us to where we are today, because Nigeria doesn't seem to be united. So the issue now becomes, for Nigeria to be self-aware, we have to come to the table and ask ourselves, what makes us unique? What makes us different? How can we function as a nation or as a state, as opposed to what other people are practicing, which is not working for us? So the critical question now becomes, what do you want? That is the first step in being self-aware as a nation.
The challenge I have with your prognosis, Henry, is who will drive this process? You understand? On the African Leadership Group, I want very, very specific things that will help us solve our problems, granulated things. You have a whole nation called Nigeria. You have said to me that we need to be self-aware, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to drop from the sky that people suddenly become self-aware. How do you drive the process of self-awareness? How did America do it? How did Ireland do it? How did Britain do it? What happened? And what do we need to do? And who needs to do what to make this country a country that knows itself? How do we drive this process? It's very, very important to me, because what we want to go away with at this table is achievable and implementable solutions. So tomorrow, I can say that a young man, Henry, spoke to me and said to me that you, Mr. So-so-and-so, or you, President so-so-and-so, or you, Governor so-so-and-so, or you so-so-and-so, this is what you have to do to help Nigeria become what it's supposed to become. We want things that people will do, real people, solid people, people we can touch and feel, or groups of people we can touch and feel. What should labor do? What should the organized private sector do? What should the university do? What do the students do? Who is going to motivate them to do what they need to do? Is it the vice chancellor? Is it the student union leader? Is it this? Is it that? Is it the other one? I want to be able to move some pieces, because we have something called Community Development Program on the ALG, which is where we reach out to the community to tell them what we think they should do and where they should go. We're about to start, hopefully, if I can get the team together to make it happen. And I'd like to be able to give them specific messages and things and speak to specific people. What do I tell the chiefs? What do I tell the Bales? What do I tell the Enojes? What do I tell the Obas? What do I tell the ordinary people in the market square as to what they need to do to make Nigeria what it should be? So I don't know if you can help me further that way.
Sure. There are two things that's required. The leaders and the youth are the people that can drive this change. For you to have national developments, you must know yourself. That is one. Two, the values we stand for. Three, the principles. Four, the vision. And five, the change you would like to see in your states, in your nation, in your village, in your community, or even your family. President Obama once says, change starts with you. He once said that in his speech, change starts with you. He said, you cannot change White House from the White House. You change White House from the outside. So the youth now have a very big role to play in this change. We saw what happened during the NSANS campaign, where the youth literally took the powers of leadership into their hands. Their ingenuity came into place. So for me to really address this question right now, I'm going to start from the angle of the second stanza of our national anthem. The first line says there, "O God of creation, that write our noble cause." What does that tell you? Value creation. Value creation. The youths are the principal agents of change in our society. But quite unfortunately, They don't seem to understand the power they have. There was a time there was a post that was posted by one of my mentor, Scholar Adesina, on this page. And in that post and on Instagram, on Instagram, there were some men that were gathered on a table. And the youths were all like lying down with their shoulders, and a table was placed on top. And these wealthy men were all eating from this table. But all these youths were comfortable on that table. But they failed to understand that the moment they just raised up their shoulder, the table was scattered. That tells you the power of the youths. We seem to be docile. The youths need to wake up. They need to create value for themselves, because nobody will respect you if you don't respect yourself. Just like power cannot be given, power has to be earned and grabbed. The youth need to come to the forefront to tell the leaders we want change. So they are the ones that will drive this change for themselves. They are the ones that will have the passion to bring this change. Some of our contemporary leaders can no longer offer great things to our communities and to our country. So the youth are the ones who have to bring this change. Look at Canada. They have a great president, a very young man. Look at Obama, became a president at age 44. So the youth need to understand that they have the power, and they can do this by organizing seminars, workshops, symposiums, and events of interest that can literally help them to take their country back from the dungeon it has been placed. The second line in that sentence talks about guide our leaders' rights. What does that tell me? The right values for leadership. We have to help our leaders to have the right character, to have the right values, to develop our nation. Why do I say this? The mistakes many of our youths are making today, they are not properly informed. And information is lacking, because once you are properly informed, you are informed. Because if you're not informed, you are ill-informed. And once you are ill-informed, you can't bring a change, because information leads to reformation and transformation. We are all products of what we know, because information leads to formation. Many of our youth are not properly informed. I remember vividly during the Bring Back Our Girls, I wrote an interesting article that went viral, and it's titled, Bring Back Our Girls, a message to Nigerian youths. That article really went viral because we had to do the campaign in US. And I said in that article, the youth ought to know the power they have. And that power they have is what they will use to bring change. Many of them feel that they are too young to rule, but they're not too young to rule. They're not too young. We have passed a bill recently during the last administration, they're not too young to rule. So if they understand that most of our contemporary leaders started from when they were probably in their 20s and 30s, so why are they lagging behind? A case study of Rotimi Amaechi, the former minister, he started from his late 20s. Bukola Saraki, the former Senate president, started very early. So the youth need to understand that it is no longer tippery as usual. They must take the mantle of leadership. And they can only do that when they have been able to work on their mindsets. So if we go to the communities right now, we discover that there is no job. But the question now becomes, what can you do? What skill do you have? What value can you offer to the system? We all know that one thing that unifies Nigeria is sports. Sports is a good way to unify Nigeria. Even in the health sector, agri sector, ICT, these are all great ways the youth can come in to unify the country. I always tell most youths who get to understand, we live in a global economy. Why be local when you can be global? With the advent of internet technology, you could do a lot for yourself. But it's quite unfortunately, many of them seem to be docile. That is why I said that the right values for leadership has to come in. But quite unfortunately, most of our leaders have used money, tribe, religion, and ethnicity to brainwash the mindsets of the youths. If only the youths can understand that what binds them together is more than what separates them, then they'll have a renewal of mindsets. Look at what happened during the last Nations Cup tournament, whereby all Nigerians united to support a good cause. But after that match, everybody now went to their own tents. And it's not right. It's not healthy. So the mindset of the youth needs to be harnessed, because I believe that there's a lot we can do together. On the second stanza of our national anthem, we have one of the lines that says, help our youth to know the truth. How can the youth know the truth? The only way they can know the truth is by seeking for knowledge. Like the Bible rightly stated in Hosea 4:6, we perish because they lack knowledge. Proverbs 1:7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So for you to know the truth, you must be honest to ourselves. But unfortunately in Nigeria, the youth have allowed ethnicity, religion, and tribalism to blind them. I always say this point. If most times you want to play football, a reasonable coach will go with the first 11. And when he or she wants to win a match, doesn't want to go with the second 11. If you're sick and you go to the hospital, you want the best doctor to treat you, right? Even if you're an enemy, it's a surgeon, you want the best. Why can't we apply that same principle in our national developments? But quite unfortunately, even the youth themselves, who are supposed to unite together on one front to have a good leader, we see them still play tribal politics. It's from the north, it's from the east, it's from the west. That shouldn't be the discussion. So there's a lot of mindset change that needs to come up in the mindset of Nigerian youths. The quest for knowledge and servant leadership is still lacking. We still have a lot to go. There is this line of thought, people always say, stomach infrastructure, whereby people feel because they're hungry, they could take a purchase sum that will be given to them, and then they'll now mortgage their future for the next 4 years. That is not right. We need to shift from that mindset. And that's why I call it poverty mindset. We need to have a growth mindset. So religion, tribalism, and ethnicity needs to be removed from our system. That is one of the cankerworms killing Nigeria. The second stanza of Nigerian national anthem have a line that says, in love and honesty to grow. And we have been seen to practice that. With my little knowledge and understanding of the legal profession, we have a saying that justice should not only be seen, but it should be manifestly seen to be done. The question now becomes, are we honest to our fellow brothers and our sisters in different parts of the country? Can we see them and unite together as one cause and believe that the change we are looking for starts with us? We have to tell ourselves the home truths. It's a sad report I wish to say this. During the last Nigerian National Tournament, whereby we lost, during one of the matches, there was this guy from the north, Sadiq, when Nigerians were attacking him. I think those from the southeast were attacking this young man because they felt he made a mistake. And during the finals, Alex Iwobi, again, they were being saying he made a mistake. And then those from the northerners were attacking him. Now we're bringing in religion into that. That shouldn't be the case. It's one Nigeria. Whenever in the field of play, everyone should come in together. So we have to remove that tribe and religion from our system. That is a big cankerworm that is killing Nigeria. We have to tell ourselves the home truths. How can we make that happen? We can only make that happen when we have the right kind of mindset and mentality, whereby a growth mindset comes in, whereby development comes in, because a growth is an indicator or a parameter towards progress. Because there are parameters, there are rubrics you could use to define growth. And this is one of the areas we can use to define growth. When growth comes in and we all measure together, then development begins to come into the system. In the north, they are very good at producing nuts, tomatoes, foodstuff, as guess we call it. In the east, they are very good in producing palm oil. So also in the west, they also have what they produce. If we can all come in together to harness what we have, I strongly believe that we're going to have a strong development in the system. So how we express ourselves as Nigerians speaks volumes about us. But quite unfortunately, we are always suspicious of our brothers and colleagues from other tribes. That shouldn't be the case. So the issue of national development is a very critical issue that needs to be harnessed from all critical areas of Nigerian system. The question now becomes, how can we bring this sustainable change in Nigeria? Are we growing academically? Are we growing spiritually? Are we growing in our social life? Are we growing in the health sector? Even in our personal and professional development, are we growing? Development, as it stands, as it connotes, is a collection of everything. Development does not entail one thing. It is a growth that we have that will now lead to development as a whole. Just like we have different ministries, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Power, Interior Decorations. So also we have development as a whole. I give a case study. We all have individual body system, the eye, the nose, the leg, the anus, the mouth, the tongue. Every single part of our body is working in unison to make sure that the whole body system is functioning at its optimal capacity. Where one is lacking, others will not be able to function perfectly. No part of human body could say, I am much better than the other ones. Even the little anus. If you decide to say, that's it, you will not be comfortable for 24 hours. If you want, even though you want to urinate, and the person says, or whatever your body system says you have, you can excrete, you will not be comfortable. When you suppose that with the Nigerian system, you will discover that growth is an individual factor. When all these growth parameters has been harnessed together, then we cannot have what I call a national development. Because growth is one, but development is all encompassing. So we need to ask ourselves, what do we want? Are we living just and true to the noble cause of our forefathers? The Awolowos, the Azikiwes, the Ahmadu Bellos, these are our founding fathers, the Enahoros. Are we living to their dictates when we look back and say Nigeria is progressing? Yes, I capital no. That was why I said we are yet to identify who we are. One step forward and two steps backwards. My late dad once told me back in the 80s or in the 70s, he always says dollar and naira to my uncle in the US. Then the naira has more value than the US dollars. But today, look at dollar, almost 150 to 1 naira, almost 150, 1,500. That is ridiculous. How can we bring change? So the youth have a big role to play. They have to question themselves. They are lagging behind because the system is not working for them. But unfortunately, they don't seem to understand what they have. That is why I ask again, are we living just and true to ourselves? That leads me to a very big issue which I want to address, the principles of life. Do we have the right principles that governs us as the youth, as leaders, as change agents? Do we have it? Principles is what brings about change in society. The life is governed by principles. That's what it is. Whatever goes up must surely come down. Do we have the right principles? Do our leaders have the right principles? Our youth have the right principles that can bring change? The answer is no, or almost no. Because we don't seem to do what is right. What is right is right. What is wrong is wrong. There's a right way of doing stuff, and there's an efficient way of doing stuff. But quite unfortunately, many Nigerians, especially the youths, are not being sincere with themselves. So we are not following the right principles that need to be done. I give a case study. Where a youth or an employee has worked for a couple number of months, and he or she is not being paid his salary, what do you expect? There was a policeman that went viral a couple of months ago on Instablock. He was getting money, extorting money from the passengers, and he was fired. He was interviewed. He said it's because he was not being properly paid. Again, are we doing the right things? What message are we passing on to a man that has family, a man that has children, a man that has responsibility? So we must do what is right. And that entails us having the right character as youths and as leaders. If our leaders have failed us, can we fail
you
ourselves?
said, sorry, Henry. You've said a lot of all these things, and I can see your passion. I can see your passion, I can see your interest, I can see your this and that. But what I'm hoping you can tell me is who to do what in this whole landscape that you have painted. The youth is a very generic word, you know. Who exactly should do what, okay? The people tried with EndSARS. They didn't succeed. The government came against them. How do we really knuckle down in our country and make things work? Who should do what? What should Henry, for example, do? Or what can he do? And what can he do with his friends in New York to make Nigeria work? What can Yinka do? And what should he do? And I'm going to be asking Yinka to make a few comments further down the line. And so on and so forth. What can Sonny do? What can Boss Koka do? What can Pastor Itwa do? How do we get this thing going? A few years ago, we had what they call a national conference, or whatever it was called, by the Jonathan administration. They discussed, they debated our constitution, and so on and so forth. They came out with a report. The report died. Nothing happened after that. You know, why is Nigeria even where it is at this point in time? You know, the other day I read last week that the Prime Minister of Singapore was comparing Singapore in the 60s to Nigeria and the great potential that both countries had and why Nigeria will not be able to go forward and so on and so forth. And you talk about changing the mind. What do we do to change the mind? How do we change the mind? And so on and so forth. I really want to know specifics. I don't want to hear youth, people. I want to know what each person should do, if possible, to make this nation work.
Great. So let's take a case study of those who are in the ICT sector, for example, in the ICT technology, internet technology. This is one of the big roles that they can use to bring change in the society. That came through during the EndSARS, where they used their technology to bring about change on social media. Also, those in the legal profession, for example, I'm in the legal profession, we could speak about the constitutional rights of citizens. We could enlighten students and even those who are not properly aware or abreast with information on their rights of the Constitution, telling them what the government can do and what they cannot do. For instance, we will make them to understand that it is the government's role to provide them infrastructure facilities, that the era of clapping for our leaders when they give us water, good roads, hospitals should be gone. It is our right to earn it. Those of us in the legal profession and even in the civic organizations, that's what we have to do. Those in the agri sector can come up with ideas. For example, they can bring up the ideas like, okay, now we can now be exporting goods out of the country. Now we have cassava, we have cocoa, we have timber in almost all parts of Nigeria. So every state that has natural resources, those in the agri sector can come in and say, this is what we can do. But our government is not tapping into our resources. We enlighten our fellow youth. So that agri sector is an untapped area that the youth need to focus on, and even the governments. Those in the civic organizations have to come up and be like a watchdog to the government. They'll be an attack dog to the government. Even those in the private sector have to come in to provide these jobs to people because they are the ones that provide jobs. Government only provides the enabling opportunities. The government on their part have to provide the policies, the direction on what needs to be done, and make sure it follows to the letter. Those in the judiciary need to make sure that they give right and fair judgments and not judgment that looks like a sham or a funny judgment because it does not speak well to the system. Then the traditional leaders have a big role to play because they seem to be at the forefront of change in our society because they are closer to the people together with the local governments. They should be honest in telling our leaders the truth by speaking truth to power. They should be honest in telling the citizens of what is going on, not a case whereby they'll be given some kickbacks or bribery, as we may call it, and then they refuse to speak out. So there are a lot of ways that the systems can be reformed, but each and every one of us have to tell ourselves the home truth. What is it that you have, the value you have, that can bring about change in society? If you're a good public speaker, you could speak. I've spoken a lot of times in New York about Nigeria. During independence, I've spoken a lot of times. Even during the last rally they had in Nigeria, that was like a very big one. I was one of the chief speakers, and I spoke, and I went viral. So there's a lot, each and every one of us, a role we have to play in national development. We have to ask ourselves, what do we have to give to society? And that was why I brought the quote from John F. Kennedy, who says, ask not what you can do for America, but no, ask not what America can do for you, but what you can do for America. So ask yourself, what skills do you have? What is the change you want to bring to Nigeria? What is the cause you are passionate about? Are you an advocate of child care, get child? Do you believe so much in humanitarian causes? There's a cause that you are passionate about. Do you hate corruption? You bring in that change. Fight that cause. Whatever thing you don't like in the system, you could be champion that. You could be that agent of change. And trust me, people will see your passion, they will see your mission, they will see your vision, and they will follow you. And that is one way to bring sustainable change and national development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I please invite Yinka Oyeni to see if he has any quick comments? Then I will throw the floor open for any questions for our speaker. And then, Henry, if you have any other thing to speak to on this question of the role of the youth in national development, if you can tell us specifically what you like the youth to do and how they can mobilize themselves, or who's going to mobilize them to do it, that will also be nice. So Yinka, just say a few comments for 2-3 minutes, and then our speaker will say one or two things, and then we throw the place open, and I'll ask Pastor Sonny to conduct the Q&A.
Thank you very much. I presuppose that I've been called because I appear to be a youth, but there have been discussions in the chat room regarding who the Nigerian youth is. And it's one of the reasons why I made up my mind to attend this today. So, I mean, according to our National Youth Development Plan or something, the Nigerian youth is supposed to be start from, I believe, from 18 to age 25. Okay, the African Union has its own categorization. I believe is all the way to age 35. But our speaker has talked about case study, and I'll use myself as a case study. In some circles, if you find Pastor Itwa and you find Pastor Godman Akinlabi, you can't say that they are not youths if you want to look at them regarding their physicality and all that. But I'm 45 this year, and I'm still trying to find the golden fleece. I'm still trying to find my feet, even though I've been called to the bar since 2003. Okay, so I think that the first thing we should determine is, when we are talking about youth in Nigeria, we should speak in context. Who is the Nigerian youth? Are we working with the right age to say this is a Nigerian youth? In some respects, you could look at the governor of Lagos State and say he's youthful. I don't know whether we can quite frankly say that he's not a youth. So the expectations of the Nigerian youths may be unrealistic if we put it in context. At what age does the Nigerian youth graduate from school? Even if the Nigerian youth is involved in vocational activities, at what age is the Nigerian youth able to start his or her own business? Even if you are going for a fully funded PhD, once you are above 35, you are not likely to get full funding anymore. But would you really be able to say that the Nigerian graduates at the age of, well, if you compute the strike actions and all of that, how do you think they barely will be able to make national youth service? So the expectation, the definition, who the Nigerian youth is probably one question that we should tackle and find an answer to, and even say That is it the right age bracket we are working with our present reality? That's the first thing. The second thing I would like to correct. I think that we make sweeping statements about so-called Nigerian youths, and we place too much expectation on that. Okay, we say, oh, we don't know, Nigerian youths don't know what they are doing. No, I disagree with you, sir. Since 2012, I've been trying to contest elections at different levels. How many years ago is that? 12 years. But who is my father in this country? How much money do I have? How much money am I able to? We passed the not too young to run. Yeah, big deal. I still contested in 2019. In fact, yes, in 2023, I was a candidate. In 2019, I won primaries. Fela Durotoye has been involved in governance. Omoyele Sowore has been involved in trying to contest elections. So we make these sweeping statements, and they are wrong to say that Nigerian youths don't try to get involved. My good friend Dayo Israel is a national youth leader of APC. He's not even 40 yet. Very brilliant, very, 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 very brilliant and articulate. But even right now, is unable to get any appointment whatsoever. Wherever you put Dayo Israel will turn around failure to success. But today, it's not in government. Meanwhile, we've also got some youthful ministers. The present Minister for Innovation, Present Minister for Innovation Technology, I forget his name at this moment, Bosun Tijani. I don't even think he's light years above 40, and he's doing well. He's brilliant. Okay, the former governor of Kogi State. Okay, I don't even think he's 45 yet. The governor of Rivers is 48 years old. So we have to try to figure exactly. I don't think the youths are the problem. Let's stop making these sweeping comments. If you look at the fintech industry in Nigeria, it is promoted by youths, sir. If you look at the tech hubs that we have, promoted by youths. If you go on social media, applying technology to the supply chain and all of that, all of these new businesses are facilitated by youth. However, can we do better? Definitely. That's if you agree that I'm a youth, okay? But are we allowed to do the most that we should do at this time? Of course not. I will end with this. If you say we have the Not Too Young to Rule Act, how about too old to contest? How about too old to contest? Tell everybody, okay? If you think it's about age, and it's the same thing happening in the United States of America with Biden at the moment. It's not, don't even compare us with Western countries. They've got their own kettle of fish, okay? We've got a youthful president in Ukraine who is doing well. We've got an old president in the United States who forgets things. And it's difficult for him to step down now to allow the young people to rule in the United States. So what I'm saying, in fact, is we are burdened by old people in government. I just got a brainwave in the last few weeks, and I intend to push it. The problem of this country will start from people who are 50 years old. They are the enablers of what is happening right now. They are the captains of industries who charge illegal bank charges. They are the ones who support government. They are the ones in government who perpetuate illegality and oppression on the rest of us. So I think that we are misplacing where the obligation lies. Can the youth develop capacity? Gowon, how old was Gowon when he became the president of Nigeria? He was youthful. All of the people you mentioned, in fact, were youths when they came into government, but that was when the right environment was in place. That is no longer in place. In the days where any government will say it wants to gag social media, I have never heard that before in my life. Anywhere in the world where you then say you want to regulate social media, the only other tool available for those of us you call youths. So we must put it in context, situate the problem where it should be. Can we be better equipped as young people to drive the change? Yes, but don't put too much on us than we have the capacity to. I'm barely able to feed my family at this moment, and you are expecting so much more. What has the country given me? I am grateful to the educational system in Lagos State Model College. When I was in secondary school, there were only 30 of us in class, 3 arms. I don't know any Nigerian child that can enjoy that today. Public school, 3 arms, A, B, C, 30. I graduated in a class of 21, 12 girls, 9 boys. And all of us were able to turn out well because there was bespoke learning for us. That is not in place anymore, sir. And so we expect too much from the youth. We should redefine possibly one generation will go before we start to say, okay, youths are young people. Redefine who the Nigerian youth is, create the enabling environment, encourage the systems that we had before, and then let's start to talk about too old to run. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sonny?
Yeah, Pastor. Thank you very much. Thank you, Yinka. You have spoken very well, and I can see a lot of hands. Thank you. I think we would speak to that. I absolutely agree with you. Is the problem that the youths are not allowed to run or to participate? That's why the country is where it is. And you have given several examples. Ibori was a youth when he became governor. Saraki was. Igbenedion was. So in 1999, we actually had a lot of people in their 40s. In fact, some in their 30s. Donald Duke and all the other people, they were all youths, but so is the problem the fact that youths have not participated, but we believe they have actually participated. So we cannot say they have not participated. Youths have been there all along, but the problem is more complex than that. So if we dimension it properly, then we'll be able to find solution to it. And I wonder what Henry will have to say to all the things you have said. I will come to the people that have questions. Henry, if you want to respond a bit to what Yinka has said, he seemed to have shifted a bit from what you were saying to say that the problem is not that the youth do not have the opportunity to participate. Yinka, am I right? I can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted. Okay. All right. All right. Let me go to the questions and those that want to take a shot. We have Marcella Wilson, and then we have Helen Essien, and then I will take Olubenga. I will take those three first, then I'll come to Faye, Charles, and then we'll take it up from there. So Marcella, you can go ahead and make your comment or ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Thank you for the lecture. A very intriguing topic, the youth. I believe they are tomorrow. Here in the United States, back in 1995, I believe there was a coalition put together with 1 million Black men, and that was activated by Louis Farrakhan. Do you think, or do you believe that a coalition may be the answer for Nigeria, fully equipped with administration and leaders, and registering the youth in such a way that they can present themselves to the government in reference to the topics that they're dealing with or the issues at hand? Do you think a coalition may be the answer in registering all of the youth and the topics that they are having challenges with in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you got that question, Harry.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, so we'll take the next person, and was that Olubenga? There was somebody before Olubenga.
Helen.
Helen.
Essien.
Hellenesian, sorry, yeah. Hellenesian.
Good evening, everyone. Please permit me to leave my camera off because of my location. So I start my comment with the question: have you asked yourself why those people who came in as youth, people like Gowon, Ibori, and all those other people that we normally talk about, why they came in as youth, but they wouldn't give the youth a chance this time around? We should ask ourselves that question. So I have sat down and thought about this. Coincidentally, yesterday, I attend the SPPG class. Yesterday, we talked about youth and leadership, and we talked a lot about it. And the young people, it was like the older people against the younger people. And I wondered why we're having that dichotomy. We should be working together. But let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is that the youth are very intelligent, and there's no reason why a young person shouldn't be intelligent in this time, because they have all the opportunity. They have Google, they have Siri, they have all sorts of things that we didn't have in our own time. So they have the opportunity to know a lot of things we didn't know as older people. So I give it to them. They are very, very intelligent. But you know the problem? They think they know everything, and so they don't listen to older people. And it is that lack of listening, sitting at the feet of older people to glean and to bring from their wealth of experience, that makes them only intelligent but not wise. And when you're not wise, you cannot be a good leader. So he keeps talking about, we can do this. The youth have the energy, but they don't have the wisdom that goes with it. As a leader, the three important C's that we should take into consideration: character, competence, and capacity. And in all these things, they might have the capacity, they might have the competence, but they don't have the character. I see a lot of young people very rude to older people. They think older people are worth nothing. They should not be respected. Young people are arrogant. They feel entitled. There's nothing like humility with them. They're idealistic in their expectation. I could go on and on and on. And so the young people should sit down. The youth should sit down and think, these things, do they work against us? Because no matter how good you are and you lack character, nobody wants to get you on. Nobody wants to employ you. Nobody wants you to lead. Because your intelligence might get you the job of being a leader, but it doesn't keep you there. These are things the young people need to work on. And what is my response to this? I think that they should join, things like, for instance, SPPG. We have a lot of young people learning. They should know that there's time for everything. Learn first of all before you lead. But we find a lot of young people want to lead without learning. We should have more of things like, what we're doing now, the ALG, opportunity to listen to older people so that they can learn. Learning never ends. They should be willing to learn. When they learn from the older people will feel better to release the baton to them to continue the race. But when we don't feel that they've learned and they're too much in a hurry and feel entitled, we're very reluctant to hand over to them. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was very passionate. I think we have to interrogate and really have a conversation. So let me take Olugbenga. Olugbenga, unmute yourself and make your comment or your contribution. Faye, allow him to unmute.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, so for me, I think we should start from the root cause of all of this. So the way I see Nigeria right now is, I don't think Nigeria is an ideal country. So I don't expect us to be comparing Nigeria with some other countries, the world, Western countries. Like a lot of things Mr. Oleka said, which I kind of agree with. Let's see, what kind of government do we have? What kind of leaders do we have? What kind of democracy are we practicing? Right now, the truth is that the kind of leaders we have and the kind of democracy we are practicing, it's that of interest. What am I going to gain? That's it for the leaders. We don't have leaders who are purposeful, driven about the good of the economy. We don't have leaders who have integrity, and we don't have leaders who have the interests of the citizens at heart. And if we don't have all of those things, it will take the grace of God for youth to survive in this country. Look at the likes of them go on, as we've been mentioning, the likes of Pastor Itua while they were going on, but all of that. We had a thriving, enabling environment where youths could succeed. But at this point, we do not have any of that at this point. Now, so there's so many things that the youth see. And when they were talking about mindset, yes, the mindset needs to be changed, not only of the youth, but even our present crop of leaders. Their mindset needs to be changed. How many of our leaders right now are moving with the trend of the new economy? How many of our new leaders are moving with what is happening in the world? A lot of them are still back there, analog age. Sure, you understand me? So all of those things are things that youths in Nigeria are purposeful driven. They are intelligent, they are smart, and they do things. Let me give an example. There's a young boy in the north that built a keke napep that was driven, I think, on CNG or electric. Where is that boy today with his project? Who is pushing that project? Who is going to support that project? People, young youths with ideas. But when they need to implement these ideas, maybe they need a kind of funding or not. Like the speaker said, you go to the bank, they'll tell you to go and bring your father's dead body that has come or something. Sure, you understand. So our leaders need to do more for us. They need to be purposeful driven. And the truth is that, see, youth right now, a couple of youths look at these leaders and it's what they see the leaders do, that's what they emulate. Now, they see that, okay, these guys, all they are after is corruption. Every youth right now wants to make fast money. Am I supporting that? No, but it's what they are saying. It's what they're saying, and we have a government that people do things without consequences. Until we start having consequences for bad behavior, then we move forward. So I think the government needs to do a lot at those points.
Okay.
Thank you. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much. Well spoken. I think we all know what these things are, and I think the question that Pastor Ituah has asked, and I will ask, and ALG keeps asking is, what should be the sequence of things? How do we get out of this rut? What is the first step? So he keeps saying, granulate it for us. Who should do what first? Second, third, how can we progress? I think that's where we are at the point of really trying to get the solution. So if we keep talking about the issues, we know what they are, but can we put on our deeper thinking habits and say, okay, we all know these things, apart from individuals doing what they can do as individuals, and we have seen it. So you will try your best as individual, but that's only where it gets to. After that, it fizzles out. So let us think deeply what we can mobilize 1 million people, 5 million people to get behind an idea that we can push. Let me take Charles Obi before I come to Faye Ransom. I know Faye is a youth, and obviously you want to add your voice to the discussion, but let me take Charles first. Charles, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Henry. Thank you for your presentation this morning, and Olayinka, brilliant. I think you know, that's the first time I've heard. No, I'm not done talking. That's the first time I've heard too old to run. but I think any which way you slice it, I think that's a good one. You know, I think there are some more fundamental issues that we have to deal with than the age of the people. This idea that somebody has to be a youth to be able to govern Nigeria or do things in Nigeria is a very dangerous trend that we are headed towards, because what can easily happen is the people who are, like Olayinka said, who are youthful, that can govern the country, for example, are excluded from the process simply because we are focused on the age of the person. You know, if we really look at where we are as a country, will we agree that a lot of the issues we are dealing with today came as a result of some of these so-called, quote, youthful people who did not have a whole lot of experience? So really, before we try to drink from the well, I think somebody said it, you need to sit at the feet of those who have gone through it, those who know it, those who have experienced it, those who can teach the lesson. Yeah, yes, the youth has the energy to go and do and undo. Passion alone will not enable you to sit with some of these world leaders that we have today. I mean, they will just sell you, or we will sell the country. So you need to work with those who have been through it, that can teach the youth how to, if you will, how to navigate the difficulties, especially in government. We as a country, we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot to deal with. See, you don't have to be at the top of the platform especially as a young person. You don't have to be at the top of the platform to make an impact. You can make an impact even from the middle. So you don't have to be a governor. You don't have to be the president. You don't have to be the mayor. You can be a youth leader within your community and still effect change. The idea that we have to go take the baton from whoever, whether it's Jagaban or who, that it's not leading, that discourages a lot of people because you can't get to the top. While we claim that the cabals have taken over, well, the cabals are taking over because we allowed them. If we, by the way, I'm not a young person, but I've seen a lot of craziness be done in the name of youth and youthfulness, and that is not helping us as a country. And I, so if we really want to do something good for our country, our beloved country, Nigeria, though tribal tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. And that is what is going to help us to salvage that country, take it away from the cabals. I mean, power is transient, we all know. Even the age is transient. The youth today is, something they used to tell us when we were growing up. When you see that older man driving, I say, old man, get out of the way, I want to pass. Remember, you're going to be old someday. So that should keep us humble and keep us focused and not be taken aback, be so fixated on the age of the individual. Think about what you can do for the country together, the young, the old, and the not so old. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Henry, would you want to take that? Or let me take Faye first before I come to the other people. All right. Henry, okay, Faye, go ahead quickly.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
I think I would like to speak on what we need to do to solve some of this problem. And I'm just going to pick on one, basically. I know that from our NLS programs there, we've touched on some fundamentals on how government is being run and the capacity of people in government part-time. I'm not sure about the numbers, but I don't know if there are up to 10,000 people currently running this nation as we speak. So one of the things I think for leadership roles and responsibilities can form a collaboration of CSOs with a mandate to train for elective position, coupled with a possibility of facilitating election funding to ensure that what we have inculcated in these individuals who have gone through this training for a period of time is being brought to bear in active leadership position. I think that is one of the ways we can, on the long term, be able to mitigate against this leadership shortfall that we have by training the youth of today for leadership for tomorrow. Our example is what we are currently doing at ALG, which includes citizen responsibilities course, trying to make the citizens aware about their rights and responsibilities to their own self, to their environment, and to the nation at large, and also project management courses. So if we can have like a collaborations between some key NGOs in Nigeria, and we can put forward like a bill to the Senate to say, look, we can't keep putting our worst foot forward. Let us form an institution for leadership role, for elective position in a 5, 6, 10 years time frame. And if you want to be a leader in any arm of the government, you have to enroll in this institution, be vetted, be seen to be fit for leadership positions, to have gone through training either by the best hands in Nigeria or by other facilitators out of Nigeria, so that we can really imbibe the culture of integrity and accountability in the people that were put into power going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have said it. I hope we can expand on that and see how we can push that further. But thank you very much for that thoughtful idea. It's something that can be further interrogated, and then we can decipher it, divide it, add, subtract, and then come up with something at the end of the day. But that's very good for you. Thank you. So let me let Henry take a shot at some of those questions before he loses track of all these questions and comments. Henry, go ahead now. I will come to you, Temitope, Obitola, Samuel, and Yetunde, and any other person that may want to ask a question. Is Henry there? Has he dropped off?
Yeah, I don't see
I
him on
think
the
so.
platform.
It's not on the platform now. We'll try and reach him.
Okay,
I
all
think
right.
he's experiencing network issues. Just sent me a message.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right. I mean, but fair enough. We can continue to interrogate these issues. I'm sure when he comes in, he will be able to respond or make a comment. Temitope, is it a question you have for him or you want to make a comment? If it's a comment.
Is a comment, yeah.
All right, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Nigeria's case is a very pathetic one. And for me, first of all, fruits cannot fall too far from the tree that bears it. So there is no difference between the youths and their parents. It's we parents that have given birth and nurtured the current youth. So whatever responsibility and consequences on both sides. Now, to actually effect a change, that change cannot happen in a conform conservative environment as we are presently having. We have something extraordinary must happen, because look at our assembly members, the Labour parties, PDP, APC. What is the difference between all of them? Is there any single one that is making a difference? No. And that is what has been the pattern in the past 60 years of Nigeria's independence. So not until we get to the bottom, not until the worst happen, I don't see any change that can happen in a soft approach as we are debating now. It's not a matter of teaching leadership or encouraging leadership. Go to any secondary schools today. The mindset of primary school students is even more corrupt than that of the university students. So where are we going to start from? But something must give in. And that which we give in will happen in such a way that we all come out sweating and praying to God for solution and wisdom. But as it is, the present approach may not achieve much. And that, I don't want to be very brutal with that which will come at the end of the day, but I can leave it to our imagination to imagine. I won't say more than that. Thank you, sir.
All right, I hear you, sir. To be honest, when you look at our states of the nation, sometimes you tend to think that that is what will actually happen. But you know, we doggedly believe that we keep engaging and a change can still come about. That's why we're having this discussion every week, and we keep trying our best to see how we can get out of it there. Thank you for that comment. Is Henry back now? Not yet. Obitola Ibiemi, is there a comment? Can you go ahead? Let's have this conversation and see.
Okay, sorry, I'm in a very noisy place, but
okay,
I just want to say this, right?
Okay.
We have not talked about youth too. And what do I mean by youth too? When they had the NSAS, youth too took over after some point with weapons and all that. It went to ShopRite, raided the whole place and all. They are more than the youth one that are tech guys, fintech and all. What is the plan, or I mean, what is the template for you too? Because there are millions of them. When you say Nigerians have, there are 65%, you can bet that there are 40% of that youth in Nigeria. So what is the template for you too? The kind of youth that I described. Then two, I had someone that during the shutdown COVID, he was rearing cow in the north. but he couldn't during COVID. So he went and started learning fintech, programming and all that. And in 2 years, he's already in Germany, and he's now planning to see how he can take his other brothers, sponsor them and make them more responsible. I'm also seeing how I can be part of people that can sponsor his program. So we have people like that who, if they are given the right environment templates, we can support, and Nigeria will be far better than what it is. But my main point is the youth too. What is the template for you too?
Okay. Thank you very much. That was Henry, right?
No,
Yeah, this is me, Henry.
Okay, all right. All right. I thought that was Henry speaking.
No, Bitola.
Okay, yeah, Bitola. Henry, you are back.
Yes, sorry, my hotel room had an internet issue, so I just fixed it now. Just so crazy. So sorry about that. I left like 15 minutes ago due to internet issues in my hotel room here in Abuja.
Okay, all right. So what can the youths do about that?
So the last time I heard was where Yinka was speaking about the role of Fela Dutoye, that you're Israel, and all he said. So I want to respond to that first, if you don't mind.
Okay, all right. That means you missed quite a bit then, but go ahead.
Exactly. All right. So what Yinka said was perfectly right, but the angle I was coming from was the angle of mindset, and I said that because Fela Dutoye is my very good friend. That is my very good friend. I know them very well, right? But the same FD that ran for election, where the youth were clamoring for him on Instagram and on Facebook, on the day of election, what happened? They still went to the same power blocks that gave them money. That was why I spoke about stomach infrastructure. Yinka has been around since 2012. We are the ones that are supposed to support him and give him all the support he needs. But what happens? That the same youth who are supposed to be the cabals are not the one playing the funny game in politics by following those people who are still the older ones in the system. So I'm not trying to downplay the role of the youth that they are not enterprising. No, what I'm focusing on is on the mindset and self-discovery, self-awareness, knowing what they want and the power they have to bring a change in society. I don't know if that is properly understood.
Yeah. Yinka wants to say something. Why are you lifting up? Okay, go ahead.
No, I was actually giving a salute to say I agree 100%.
Okay, excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
So that was where I was saying, because we have the power. Then the other lady spoke about coalition. I agree for coalition. That is one thing that can bring change in Nigeria, the youths. Just like the last election, the reason why we have President Tinubu today in power is because there was a fraction in PDP, APC, Labour, and NNPP. If they have teamed up together, trust me, it will have been hard for APC to have won the election. Look at what happened in Nigeria. So I think coalition is a great way. Look at in Ghana, they have two parties. That's how you have a strong position. Look at in the US, we have 5 parties, but those two, the Republican and Democrats. So I think we should have a 2-party system in Nigeria. So I'm an advocate of coalition. That is the only way you have a very good opposition. The era where we have 20 parties, 50 parties makes no sense. It's ridiculous. You cannot have a sustainable change in that system. So these were the last 2 questions I had before my internet messed up. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm back now.
Okay, you're welcome. This your proposal for just 2 parties. A lot of people will challenge you on that, but let me
bring it
leave
on.
Let me leave it for the people that will see, because if we had only 2 parties as it were, then a Peter Obi would not have been able to find expression to be part of, to be on the ballot paper, because the 2 power blocks, they have dominated that party, and they've held it on. So if we're clamoring for an alternative, anyway, yeah, I'm sure you have and there are people here that could probably take on that, and I will leave that to our participants to either speak to or at another forum. So I will take on Samuel Dada Yetunde Macaulay, and Dave Momodu. Samuel Dada, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a while I've been connected. I think the role of the youth is something that triggers me to say something. Let me start from Pastor. Pastor said something about the answers. The answers to me, as I understood, weren't politically motivated. It was a group of people that started it. That is why in the northern part of Nigeria, the government were using that as a decisive, a divisional something to divide the country by telling them in the north that look at they are trying to overthrow a democratically elected president. We saw it. So we can't really say that the youth came out and they were fighting for something that is political. What they were fighting for is something that is moral, that the police supposed to have handled in a better way in a civilized country. So we still need that instrument. Like I'm seeing recently that the younger generations are saying that they are coming for hunger strike or something, a protest that is bigger. All these ones are more political because it is the government of the day that is not doing the right thing. Though the police too serve the government, but a little bit difference is there when it comes to the issue of this hunger strike. This hunger strike affects everybody. And there will be nobody who will say that they are trying to bring the government down or this and that. Let me just put that aside. I just want to say that. Now, coming to the youth discussion in Nigeria, I think the best way to go about it is not by saying that those that are above 50 are the problems, are the enablers of the problems we're having, like Mr. Olayinka said. I don't think so, because Omoyele Sowore is 53, Nnamdi Kanu is 54. All those ones, they were born after or during the civil war in Nigeria. So all these people, they are in their 50s or 55. So I don't think they are the problems of Nigeria, because they also suffered a lot. But the problem of Nigeria, like somebody said, Temitope, I think, that it is what you breathe that you have. So when somebody is complaining about Nigerian youth, they don't have manners, they are this, they are that, talking about the moral aspect. Yes, the system has collapsed since 80s, where teachers, people that work for the government, civils are not being given salary, and then they don't have the power to teach their child economically in such a way that the child will grow up very well. So they just have to leave their child to fend for themselves. At the end of the day, people become what to become today. If we should look into the social media, those people that influence our youth, there are those that goes into immoral things, and people wants to go because they get money through it. So that is what the government has done to us so far. Now, if you are not saying that the youth should go into politics like that, your history, I know him very well. I followed him where he used to bring those people that fight for the democracy, like Babafemi Ojodo and the rest. I used to listen to that, your history there. Even I have a friend in the government of today. They can't do anything because they just have to listen to the old people. And the old people believe that they have the power. When you're talking of the old people, these people are in their 70s, 80s. They determine our life. So what are we going to do to solve this problem? To me, we have these younger generations that are below 60s, that has interest, passion to serve this country. Let us call on all of them together. Even if it's in a stadium, let's call all of them together and call. Who are the people that are interested in running for the presidency? Let's start working from there. Maybe it shouldn't be people from the Southwest alone. Let's involve people in the northern part that we know that they have this passion. They've not been in politics before. Let us take away people that have served governor or senator. Let's take them out of it finally. Let's look for young people that they've never served at all, because people used to talk of experience. Those ones that they have experience, is experience of corruption. We've seen it so far. Nigerians are not dumb people. We are not stupid people. We know what to do. Many of us here, if we are given opportunity to govern a place, we will govern very well with all sincerity. But that is not, but people just want to come and tell you experience, and the kind of experience these guys have brought to us is what we are seeing so far. Let's start from the new people, new set of people, and form a movement that is devoid of any politicians that has run one position or the other before. Maybe we can start from there, but we must involve the northerners people, because that is where the problem lies. The division is too much in Nigeria that if Omoyele Sowore today is attacking like Obi, when you were in government, you never did this, you never did that. The eastern part, we see that is being tribalistic. If he has to speak about Tinubu today, the Yorubas will tell him that you don't have respect for the headers. This is the problem of Nigeria. And these are the facts that these people are manipulating us. They are not governing very well, but people don't see it from that angle. Now we need to build new set of people that have never been in the politics before, that will speak to power, that will say the way it is, that will be devoid of ethnicity, religiosity, tribalism. Because that is, as Henry said, as the guest speaker said, that is what is really affecting us in Nigeria. I've been on Twitter spaces where I talk Yoruba man, they started attacking. The people that will come after you will be from either from Igbo or from the north. That is the problem. And I, as a person, I don't see myself as he's only a Yoruba man. I'm for human. Everybody should live fine. So this is the problem of Nigeria. If we can get a group of people like SPPG that is building some youth, get some other non-governmental organizations that are involved in helping younger generations, let's bring all of them together and let's call on all those individuals that has never governed before, that has never been in any political space before, and let's hear from them. From there, people will be able to vote and say, okay, we are building leaders for tomorrow. And the new movement will now be the movement that will go into the next election, that will now fight against the people. And the Nigerian youth, everybody will be involved. Like these ones are new crops of set of people that are ready to revolutionize the country in a better way. So this is just my own little point to what we are discussing since. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I feel the passion of the youth and great. Thank you. Yetunde Macaulay. Let me quickly take all of you so that Henry can respond and then maybe we can try wrapping up. Go ahead, Yetunde.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, yeah.
So, thanks to everyone and especially to some of the points from the last person who spoke. And I'm going to come in from the point of, yeah, so many things I've listened to at the beginning and then, trying to bring everything together. What was on my mind when I raised my hand is actually, even I wanted to say in the past, but I think even up till now, I've had this issue hearing adults. You see a lot of people. I've been to some civil service offices before, and you see what happens there. And then, you hear adults telling young people, "Oh, go work with the civil servants. There is security." Who tells them that they will go there and go and add value? And I don't know. Maybe some adults forget that these things, they are seeds. So when you sow the seed, I think it's a seed that has been sown in a very long time, that has now grown, or that has now germinated rather, to become the problem of Nigeria. It was clearly stated in the word of God that he who tries to save his life shall end up losing it rather. And it looks like that. Go and work there. There is security. Nobody can sack you. Nobody can make you feel this. And then people go there. They go there because of their pockets. They're not going there to add value. I'm sorry to say, because I see some young people working in all these parastatals, and it's not because they want to really serve. They just want to go there and know that, oh, I have a job. Nobody's going to sack me. Tell them to go and work in the public, private sector. Some of them can't even cope. So we really need to be very careful of the kind of seeds we sow into the young generation, the younger generation, put it that way. Because it looks like, no, I'm not going to say, oh, what Mr. Olayinka said is totally wrong or correct or whatever, that, oh, some old people cause this. Now, let's look at the homes. What are parents telling their children? So that, because really, ALG is doing a lot of work with CRC. Yeah, ALG is going to do a great job. But the truth is, what is inside of these people that were trying to change their minds? Do they already have a seed that needs to be uprooted first? Because people go into all of these places, and that's why we see corruption everywhere. They want to secure their own future, and then at the expense of the ones that are even yet to be born. We need to pay attention to that as well. And for the young people on the platform, of course, if we look inwards, we're going to be able to do a whole lot of things. We do not need to depend solely on government. Of course, we should have expectations of what we expect them to do to make it very easy or easier for us to be able to do what we really want to do. But first thing first, like Mr. Henry said, self-awareness. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you carry. And then you must be able to put all of these things together and begin to run with it. And then as you run, you find opportunities and then you're able to tap into it. But the truth is, everybody needs to change their mindset. We all need to change our mindset. Adults need to learn how to be able to tell the younger generation the right thing. It's not enough to tell them to go and secure their own pockets, their mind, their mouth, and their family's mind, or whatever it is. Tell them about values, and then let them understand, so that when they get to that place where they are being given opportunity to serve, they serve well, and they serve, with integrity, so that others behind them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Dove. Dove, thank you very much for that bit. I think at the end of it all, Henry will take everything together, and then Pastor Itra would sum it up as the father of youths in this platform. Dove, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Sonny.
Yes.
I also like to thank Mr. Henry. I enjoyed and appreciate your presentation and the attendant passion. My position is somewhat different. It kind of aligns with more with Faye's point on the effort being made, however insidious. There's no equivocation that our problems are multidimensional and overwhelming. But it also should not be lost on us that in addressing the multitude of challenges we have accurately pinpointed here, we've engaged a lot of personality from different sectors, different backgrounds, and they've all spoken to the same issue with some solutions also being identified. So it's essential to acknowledge the continuous effort, though often understated, strides being made. Our initiative at ALJ here stands as a testament to this. As we bring together varied minds from different fields to delve into each problem and craft different effective solutions. So it's good that we recognize that, so that it doesn't look like all we do is just talk and get overwhelmed with just the problem. So efforts are being made. So in closing, I'd like to echo Margaret Smith's inspiring assertions. She said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." So I'm very optimistic that we will overcome. We will win this struggle. It may not be this group of people talking today, but we are laying the foundation for solutions that will overcome the problem for the generation coming behind us. I rest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dove. I'll take Ngozi, the final hand that is up, and after that, we'll get Henry to respond and give his comment. Thank you. Ngozi, go ahead.
My question really is for the ALG. I know when we were in the university, the student union body was a very powerful platform. Student union activism was very powerful at that time. Is there any way to use that as a platform for education of young people on what their rights are, the state of the nation, and all of that? And I believe, if someone is coming into their first year, and if the student union body is still as powerful as it was in those days, and they start hearing from their first year to their final year in the university, I think by the time someone is leaving the university, they will have a different mindset. They will know what their rights and responsibilities are, and how to challenge the status quo. Has anybody considered using that platform for this purpose? That's really my question. I don't know what the state of, I live in the US, so I don't know what the state of student union activism is at this time, but I believe that will be a powerful tool to use, or a powerful channel to use to reach young people. And you have a number of years to do this. And I believe that by the time they're leaving the university, They will be indoctrinated, they will have a different mindset, and they'll be able to challenge the status quo. That's my contribution and question too. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Is this my Ngozi?
Yes, Dr. Ngozimba.
All right. Nice to have you on the platform. Thank you. Excellent contribution, actually. I think capturing them, not just from the university, maybe from the primary, secondary school level to really see how we can galvanize them. But let me let Henry take a jab at all the questions and comments. And then finally, I will bring the president of ALG back to engage Henry as we close the session. Henry, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Once more, I must apologize. I lost a substantial amount of the questions. Briefly, from the last few questions I had and my own general thought is just with respect to what someone said about action. Okay, and I believe action is very, very important. Why do I say that? I believe in theory, but practicality makes the way forward. It's good to have conferences, seminars, workshops, symposiums, whatever you may call it, but then how do we implement it? I think that's a bigger issue that we need to address as a nation and as agents of change. Why do I say this? I'm going to piggyback on what Yinka said earlier on with respect to his interest in the election, Philadelphia Toye, and Dayo Israel, and a host of others. Even so, we need to come back together to ask ourselves that's the question again. What do we want? I keep saying that issue. That should be the fundamental part. What do we want as youths? What do we want as a nation? It's very, very critical. Why do I say this? When somebody was running for election, Philadelphia was running for election, Mohalo was running for election, even Obekwesili, there was a meeting that was formed. Let's have a one united force whereby all the youths will clamor together and campaign for that person. It didn't happen. Everybody wants to burn the ballots. And that is where we are today. Again, we need coalition. So it's not about speaking about the challenges. It's good to apportion blame, but how do you fix it? We must implement these principles. That is one. Two, the last lady that spoke about SUG. SUG is good, but let me just share a little bit of story with you. And I saw this on social media a couple of days ago. A young man was saying that if you were a secondary school prefect who lived the lifestyle of whenever there is a food, you will be given 2 rations, 3 rations. Why some people have not eaten? Because you're a prefect, you get double or triple or 4, and we were labor prefect. You should not be complaining right now when our leaders are looting, because we are part of the system. We are all equals, right? So why did you have 2 or 3? So basically, that kind of reminds me of a book I read back in the days, Animal Farm by George Orwell. He said, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. So in Nigeria, we are all saying, oh, we need change, our government are corrupt. But trust me, some of us who are gathered here today, if we have the same opportunity of being in government, we might even do worse. I was sharing with Pastor Itu a couple of days ago an experience I had when I was in Nigeria. A young man, probably was a teenager, he said, our current leaders don't know how to loot. Let them relax. When we are done with our schools, we'll teach them the modernized and sophisticated way of looting money. This was happening between 2000 and 2001. This guy was still in year 1. So you can imagine the hope of the country. So even the same SUG that we're clamoring for today, are they doing things right, even in their campuses? That is where the seed of corruption is breeding, the SUG themselves. So they are not doing what they're supposed to do. If they are doing what they're supposed to do, that should be the foundation of where the actual change ought to be. But quite unfortunately, things seem to have changed in the system. So the issue of the role of the youth in national development is a huge one. It's a task each and every one of us needs to come on board. All hands must be on deck. That is where we're going to make it happen. But are we serious? Are we intentional? Are we deliberate in taking those proactive steps and bringing about change? Change will not come to you if you don't seek for that change. You are the one. We saw what J.J. Rollins did. We saw what other countries are doing in Africa. But are we doing the same thing for Nigeria? So This is my message to Nigerian youths today. Let us all come together and support this noble cause of bringing in that change that we want in our system. Nobody will do it for us. We are the ones that will come in, and we have what it takes to bring that change. We have the internet. We're all intelligent. We're not lazy. We're all professionals in our own little ways. So we can all harness what we have and remove tribalism, ethnicity, religion, and trust me, a better day lies ahead. If only we can do this by being intentional. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry. Very good presentation. So I'll now bring Pastor Itua back to sort of round up and give his closing. Pastor Itua, over to you.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank Henry and all those who contributed for all their great contributions and suggestions, and especially for the palpable passion that I really felt in the discourse. Everybody is concerned about Nigeria. Everybody is hoping that Nigeria will be better, and everybody now wants Nigeria to be better. One or two or three of the takeaways that Henry sort of broached on was this issue of selflessness, especially the last case that he gave as an example, where everybody was hoping that Sowore and the other groups of people, Feladro Toye, Obi Ezekwesili, would all come together and form some kind of coalition. In fact, I was part of the people hoping they would come together. I had a wealthy Nigerian who was on standby to give them quite a lot of money if they could just order themselves together. But they didn't. They all fell apart. And even till today, that's part of our problems. Last time, Labour were begging Peter Obi and Kwakwanso and these people to come together and work together. They couldn't agree on who would be presidential candidate, who would be vice. You know, one of them insisted that he must be president. They both insisted that they must be presidential candidates. None of them could agree to step down for the other. So again, they went apart. If you add Peter Obi's votes to Kwakwanso's votes, you might find that they sort of beat the APC votes, okay? And maybe if they had come together, they may have been able to drag some votes out of PDP. But they couldn't come together and agree to step down for one another in the interest of this great country. And that has always generally played out in our nation, where the amount of greed and selfishness is overbearing. In Edo State now, we're having exactly the same situation, where people just insist that they must run for office regardless of anything. And everybody's running all over the place, dissipating energy. Even where in one of the areas they try to come together to have some kind of elders consent, fell out. And here we are, everybody's on the field, spending a lot of money. And these are the challenges of Nigeria. And while with CRC, we're working with the youth corpers, we're working with some student bodies, and so on and so forth. We are also working with secondary and elementary schools on citizens' responsibility. Although I must admit that we have not approached the students' union as a body. So I think that is also potentially possible if we can get them to see things from our perspective and be less of aluters, but more of professional and serious advocates for something serious. So we have Citizens Responsibility Group. on ALG. We have the IOI mentorship group and so on and so forth. And we're working very hard to begin our citizens engagement. So anybody who would like to be part of it, and we're going to see what ways we can work with Henry to make sure this goes forward, we will do it. Because we're committed to changing the mindset of the average Nigerian. We think that this is where the change starts, changing the mindset of the average Nigerian, changing the way they see things, changing the way they approach things, and connecting with each one of them on that basis of change, you know, and getting them to see things differently, getting them to cooperate and work together against a bigger enemy than everybody being so individualistic, and getting them to also be able to assess leadership performance and know good from bad leadership, right from wrong leadership, and so on and so forth. So we're doing quite a lot of work at ALG, sending letters to secondary schools in different states, or your state, Lagos State, and so on and so forth. And we're going to keep it going. We're also trying to raise quite a lot of money so that we can use this money to transform Nigeria. We know it's not an easy road. We know it's going to take us some time, but we think that if you eat an elephant bit by bit, eventually the whole elephant will be consumed. So let me thank everybody for staying faithful, staying on track, coming today and being part of ALG for this day of February, 15th day of February, 2024. Henry, I thank you very much. Thank you for stopping by the office the other time. Thank you for engaging me. Thank you for coming on the platform. God bless you. I wish you the very best in all your activities. And I do hope that somehow or the other, we'll be able to do a few things together. Thank you, everyone. Have a very wonderful evening, and God bless all of us in Jesus' name. Please spread the news about the ALG. Invite different people to join. Let us have a big population of people on this platform. We're also hoping to break it into sections, local government ALG, state ALG, and of course, country to country ALG discourses, so that the fire just keeps going. And very soon, the whole of Africa is talking African leadership. God bless you all. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Ngozi, it was great to hear your voice today. Thank you for that great contribution. Bye-bye. Tony, thanks a lot. That was masterful.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good
Professor
session.
Grange, thank you so much. Shaki, thank you. Yetunde, thank you. Shade, thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Pastor Etua.
Owele, always
Yeah.
great to see you. Thank you for coming.
See you very